Hey, Daisy. I want to talk to you, so you better not be too busy. Was that your younger brother that was at the house just now?
Hi, Charles. Yes, it was Max who was at home today. I suppose this was the first time you had both met. What did you talk about with him?
Well, I did want to say something about Max. Is he at home all the time because he doesn't know what to do with his life or something?
Huh? What do you mean? Do you think he's shutting himself off from society or something? Is that the impression you got?
Okay, I'll try to put this into plain and simple terms so you can understand. So, the way he spoke in general was just kind of awkward, you know? He didn't hang around for long because after saying hello, he quickly went back into his room, which I thought was odd. And his hair is super long and overall looked unkempt. I don't think a guy should look like that. He needs to look neat and tidy. Please tell your brother that he needs a haircut or something. Just so he looks good when company comes over to the house. Is your brother like a shut-in or something? He seems to come off that way to me, and it just makes me feel weird and uncomfortable.
Pardon me, you think that Max is a shut-in? I suppose he kind of is, but he doesn't laze around all day. It's true that he works from home, so that means he stays home most of the time. I guess he's a little bit in his own bubble, but it's okay.
He's working from home? That's another scary sign that he's obviously not doing much for society. You know that the word stay at home is an excuse to be a shut-in, right?
Excuse me? Didn't I just say that he works at home? He actually works really hard, so he doesn't have a lot of time to go out and do things, okay?
If you're a man and you want to work and be successful, you have to go out and find work and actually earn money by doing it on your own. People who stay at home and play on their computers all day don't count as working adults. It's just not right to throw them under that label. If you're an unemployed man who stays at home all the time, then you're shut-in. There's not much more I can say to that.
Okay, just hold on a minute. What's gotten into you? Why are you being so against people working from home? What's my brother ever done to you? It's like your attitude has suddenly changed just because you met my younger brother.
I just really dislike people who don't work hard and keep themselves shut in their bedrooms. It's filthy and disgusting behavior, and a grown man should know better. I've been standing on my own 2 feet for a while now, and I've continued to work hard. I've built a high-leveled career for myself. I don't want to have people in my family who are just sitting around having fun and not working hard. It makes them look like a spoiled brat.
Okay, but do you know that Max isn't like that at all? He's not spoiled, and he hardly just sits around all day. He works, too. It's true that he's kind of awkward, but he's just got a naturally shy personality, and so he's not great when it comes to meeting new people. He may look untidy and his room may not be super organized, but he works fine and he's got a good job right now.
Okay, well, I think you're lying to me to cover for your brother. There's no way a person like that can work properly. Don't be so blind to this, Daisy. You were just hiding your brother's existence from me, weren't you? You feel embarrassed that this is what he's like.
You think I was hiding him? Are you kidding me? I'd never do that to my younger brother. I've got no reason to hide him from you.
Then why haven't I met him until now? Why did it take so long to organize? Is it because you thought that it was wrong and that he needed to not look so shaggy?
What? No, that's not it at all. He hasn't been around because of his job, and I wanted to introduce you to him at a time where you'd both be free and available.
Oh, really? You think that I'm going to believe what you just said, Daisy? You're funny. Is staying in your bedroom all day the same as being away? Do you really think that those two things are correlated? Okay, I've had enough of talking about this. Let's discuss the matter thoroughly when we both get home, alright? Then maybe we'll be able to end up on the same page about this.
But I don't get why this matter needs to carry on further than it already has. All that Max does is work from home. Why don't you believe that?
Hey Daisy, I just wanted to message you to apologize for speaking to Charles for so long. I was a little taken aback by him, and I felt awkward. He didn't say anything bad about the interaction I had with him, did he? I was planning to look a little bit nicer, but I ran out of time.
Max, everything is fine. Don't worry about it. You did great with Charles. I know that you're shy when it comes to meeting new people, so it's okay.
I guess you're right about that. I'm a little bit shy. I just thought I would have grown out of my shyness by now. Maybe Charles wasn't impressed by my presence and my personality. I should try and stop being so shy around people.
Huh? What do you mean he wasn't impressed? He hasn't got much to judge you on since you've only just both met each other.
Well, we did talk for a little bit, and I got to know him a little bit from just that first interaction. He's a nice guy, Daisy. But I feel like he's the type of guy who thinks only about himself, and not so much about other people, especially when it comes to their views and feelings on things. I feel like he's a narcissist who doesn't care so much about others in the world. He might have ambition, but it's only so he can focus on himself. He doesn't seem to have the ability to understand other people and their situations. I don't know. It's just that feeling I got from him.
Okay, I get your point, Max, but you shouldn't talk about my fiancé like that. I'm about to marry him, and I don't want bad blood between you two.
Look, I'm just telling what I really thought of him when I met him. And also, what was his suit color? It was weird looking. Is that like his work uniform or something? Even the people who work for gangs wouldn't be caught wearing that color. It looked hideous. You should tell him to change up his fashion.
Hey, Max, would you stop attacking my fiancé so much? That's enough of that. I've had it up to here with your crap. Now, would you please stop it? Since when have you become the judgy type? You know that once you start saying bad things about others, it's difficult to stop.
Okay, I'll stop saying what I think then. So what is Charles actually like then? Can you actually describe his personality to me? Did he really not talk about me to you? I can read the air very well, Daisy. I was getting strange vibes from him. He surely must have said something about me, right?
Okay, you're right. He started talking about you after you both met each other. He obviously doesn't have a clue what you're like, so don't take this too badly. He seems to think that you're a shut-in who does nothing but play video games all day and does nothing to contribute to society. He said that you seem super awkward and that you've got no sense for personal hygiene and your hair is a mess. He basically turned around and said that he doesn't want to be related to someone like you. He doesn't want a shut-in in the immediate family.
Okay, I can understand why he got that impression, but still, can't he just say it in a more subtle manner than just complaining about it? I'm shocked to hear that someone would say something like that about me to my own sister. Wow, it just makes me feel so much worse than I normally feel.
I'm really sorry, Max. You were right about Charles this entire time. He immediately started dissing you, and I just couldn't stand it. He has no idea about your life. On the outside, he comes off as nice and humble, but on the inside, he thinks and then says terrible things about people. I'm getting sick of it, to be honest with you.
I was wondering if you had noticed this type of behavior in him before. Or would he say and do things when you weren't around so he didn't look like a terrible person?
To be honest, I thought I saw a glimpse of him being this way, and I don't want it to get to the point where he explodes. It would be a really bad look. But I think I was pretending to not have noticed what he was saying about other people, especially you. I couldn't believe what he said before. You're not a shut-in. This was my chance for me to get married, and I didn't want to waste this opportunity, but now Charles is turning out to be really horrible.
I know that you've turned 30, so I understand why you're in such a hurry to get married. I get that desire, but I don't want you making any decisions you'll regret later. If you start to become more and more unhappy with Charles, then you're really just setting yourself up for something you can't get out of. I really think it's time for you to sort things out with this guy. You need to think about if he's seriously going to hinder you living your life or not.
Yeah, you're right. I want to be happy. I don't want to be with a narcissist for the rest of my life. Thank you for talking to me, Max, especially about my worries.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about what would happen to you if he were to marry you. I can't stand having someone like him join this family. Even if he were to show a little bit more respect, I've already seen a little bit of what he's truly like. And you've also told me enough about him as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose we were both right about Charles then. We've both seen more or less the same thing in him. I don't need that in my life at all.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh well, I guess I'll have to rethink my investment plans now since things are about to change. I really hate to break this to you, but it's over for us, to be honest. It's a relief to say that, but I've wasted precious time on you.
Wow, I can't believe you just said my line. That's what I was going to tell you as well. I never thought until now how much of a selfish scumbag you are, Charles.
What the heck, Daisy? How am I the scumbag? You're more of the scumbag since you hid the fact that your younger brother is a shut-in and unemployed. I did nothing but share my feelings about it with you, and you just can't handle it. This whole relationship has been a complete and utter scam.
How many times do I have to repeat myself to you, Charles? Max isn't a shut-in at all. Like, if he was, why would that matter to you?
You don't understand how much of a big deal this is, Daisy. I've got a really great career as an elite banker. If I were to marry you and be associated with a relative who does nothing for our society and locks himself in his room, it would affect my career advancement. You'll be surprised at how much the people you're surrounded by affects your outcomes in life. I don't want that kind of crap hanging around me.
I don't get why Max would affect your career that extremely. I don't think he would at all. Everything's okay.
No, it's not okay. You've got no idea what's going on. You're so stupid and naive sometimes, Daisy. It's hard for me to deal with. Anyway, all I wanted to say was that I'm not going to marry you now that I know more about your family members and how lazy they are. It would be a huge joke around my office if they found out that my new brother-in-law was a shut-in and did nothing all day. I'm an elite, and I don't need trashy relatives like your brother bringing me down in my field of work. I'm breaking off this engagement, Daisy.
Huh? Is that what you think he'd do, Charles? You know that my brother's annual income is about $4 million.
Wait, hold on a minute. Did you just say you're telling me that your brother makes $4 million a year? Don't make me laugh. I never would have put you as a compulsive liar, Daisy. Even though I think you're lying. Do you really think your brother would ever earn that much money from his bedroom?
I'm not lying about this, Charles. I haven't lied to you this entire time during our relationship. I've got no complaints when it comes to you breaking off the engagement. It really helps that I've learned your true nature before I got too deep into the relationship with you. Your words have saved me from walking down the aisle with you.
What on earth? Aw, you think that acting strong is going to get you anywhere? You lied and hid information from me. You can't live with my elite banker skills. You can't live without the money I earned from my job. Rather than give it up on marrying me, why don't you just cut ties with your little brother, since he's obviously holding you back and making you believe all sorts of lies?
Excuse me? What the heck did you just say to me? You're making me so confused here. Which option do you want, Charles? Are you going to get married to me or not? Make up your mind. You're being such a pain right now. Which is it, Charles?
Like I said, Daisy, I'm willing to marry you if you cut ties with your younger brother. Then neither of us has to be associated with a shut-in. Now, really think about the offer I just gave you, alright? I can live comfortably alone, since I've got quite a bit of money. I can back out pretty easily. But you, not so much. Your options are very limited, because you can't survive without me and my money. You're at the bottom of society as well, you know.
How could you possibly have an advantage over me, huh? I'm working too, you know. I can live well on my own without your money or you annoying me all the time. So I'll say this one more time. I agree to break off the engagement. I'm not complaining about it anymore. How dare you think I can't survive without you?
Come on, just be honest with me. Do you really not want to get married to me, the elite banker? I can make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. If you cut ties with your brother, we'll be able to get married with no issues at all. We'll be able to do that if you just obey me.
Maybe you're just trying to trap me in your net. Are you seriously still wanting to marry me after all that we've said? Do you think you swaying me to change my mind is working, Charles? Do you really think you're that persuasive when it comes to other people's decision-making?
Excuse me? How dare you speak to me like that, you stupid woman? How dare you insult me? I was just leaving the options on the table for you. Besides, once we're over, I'm free to choose whatever woman I want to be with. I'd be an eligible bachelor, and then all the ladies will try to swoop in and grab me.
Oh, do you really think that's going to happen after you've thrown me to the curb, Charles? Don't make me laugh. You know what? I'm okay. I'll pass on your offers and I'll say no to marrying you. We're breaking off our engagement whether you like it or not. I'll file the paperwork and get the procedure underway so that I don't have to deal with you ever again. Leave it to me. Have fun looking for a new woman.
Oh, alright then. I guess you've made your decision. You're going to have to live with making the wrong decision for the rest of your natural-born life, Daisy. I won't know how you deal with all of this until I find out later through the grapevine. You'll be kicking yourself after making this stupid decision. Hey, this can't be true, can it? Does your younger brother actually earn $4 million a year? This isn't real, right? When I was watching TV just now, I saw him appearing on a program about successful investors. Who is this guy, seriously?
Well, I told you, didn't I? Max does, in fact, work and isn't a shut-in like you thought he was. As the TV said, Max is a really successful investor. He occasionally makes guest appearances on the business channel that shows on TV. He's also published several books about investing.
Oh, okay. When I looked up his name, a lot of things came up about him. I couldn't believe that all of this was true. I completely misunderstood the situation. So, why don't you just change your mind about marrying me? And then we don't need to call off the engagement anymore.
Are you seriously kidding me? Don't you realize how much you're embarrassing yourself by turning around and taking me back as your future wife?
What's that supposed to mean? What's going on here? Everything is fine now because your brother is actually a hard worker, right? Now there's no problems with him being a part of the family, since he works hard to earn a lot of money. We'll be able to get married and not worry about shut-ins.
You know what, Charles? You're so unbelievably selfish. Even though you've turned around and said it's fine to get married, I still wouldn't change my mind about calling off the engagement. Do you really think I'd take that back? You're insane, as well as full of crap.
Well, it was because I thought that your younger brother was a unemployed bum who did nothing. I couldn't help thinking that, alright? Look, I admitted that it was all a big misunderstanding. What more do you want from me? Don't you see that I'm trying to do the right thing here? I think that you should accept my proposal again, and stop being so stubborn and proud. It's actually rather annoying. Come on, Daisy, work with me here.
I don't know how you can come so far as to say that I'd take you back just because you found out the truth about my brother. Do you seriously think that I'd want to marry you now that you accept my brother? Are you crazy?
Yeah, but I know that you can survive without me. You know you can do things on your own, right? If you don't be honest with yourself, I'll abandon you, and this will definitely be over.
I'm sorry, but why should I say what you want to hear after the way you talked about my brother, huh? Also, don't speak for me and how I do things. I can survive perfectly fine on my own, and I don't need a selfish man like you around putting awful thoughts into my head. I'm not marrying you, and that's final. It's on you if you can't accept that. Quit pressuring me into doing something I don't want to do. Goodbye, Charles.
How dare you speak to me like this? You'll not get away with that. I'm an elite, and I was planning to marry someone like you, who lives at the bottom of society. You must be very stupid to deny yourself this precious opportunity to marry someone so rich and powerful. You're so dumb, Daisy.
Wow. I can't believe you're talking to me like this again. Are you really opening up this conversation again for an argument? This is ridiculous.
Your younger brother may be a famous and successful investor, but it must be tough to be the unsuccessful older sister. I feel so sorry for you.
Wow, and I thought you couldn't sink any lower, Charles. What a terrible thing to say. Do you hate this that much that it's hurting your pride?
Shut up, you stupid woman. Don't even think about trying to attack me. You're the one that lied and hid things about your family. I won't forgive you for this. You've made a fool out of me. I'll definitely get my revenge for this. You better watch your back, Daisy. I'm coming for you and your younger brother. You lower-class imbecile. You've got no choice but to listen to what us upper-class have to say. You'll not get away with messing with me. Watch yourself. I'm going to stop investing at the bank you work at, Charles. You know that what goes around comes around, right? Huh? What on earth? Who are you? What do you want with me? What the heck are you talking about? What about my bank? Nice to talk to you again, Charles. It's me, Max, Daisy's younger brother. It was really nice to finally meet you the other day. It was a very enlightening conversation for me, actually. I learned so much more about you. By the way, if you want me to continue on investing in your bank, you better cooperate with me. But I have a feeling you won't. If I had an employee like you in my workplace, I'd make you quit. What on earth are you talking about? What investments are you even referring to? You need to explain yourself this instant. I told your boss about how you were talking to people and boasting about your elite banker status. It felt really good doing that, actually. I also sent a screenshot of the abusive conversation that you were having with my sister. Now, people will really see what you're like outside of the office. Okay now, just hold on a minute there. Let me get this straight, alright? Are you talking about my bank and the investments that are being put into it? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Do you really think it's polite for you to turn around and use the manners that you have towards me? I'm an investor after all. No, that's not what this is like. This must be some sort of coincidence that you're investing into my bank. There's so many around. Well, you're right in that, but I thought I'd invest in your bank because it's so big. I don't think that's much of a coincidence, Charles. Okay, so I just got a call from my boss. Is this all related in some way? What on earth is going on here? Are you trying to sabotage me? Well, I guess you'll find out what's going on soon enough, right? You'll know your fate soon enough. Oh my goodness. I just wanted to formally apologize for the words that I've used towards you, sir. I had no clue you were investing in the bank I work at. Well, I guess I was hiding that little fact from you then. You know, talking to you gave me a strange vibe. I was surprised that you couldn't see through something so easy to understand and adapt a new way of speaking to people you don't know. I suppose I should have known better to trust a banker like you when it came to my money. But it's too late, I guess. How about you just cancel your investment plan with my bank so that we don't have to interact anymore, and I won't get into any more trouble. Please, just cut me some slack just this one time. I will leave your entire family alone from now on. You know I'm alright where I am. I don't want to stop my investment plan at the bank. I'm expecting some high returns on what I get back. Huh? You are? No way, really? Is that so? Well, if that's the case, I guess my bank is doing something right. I suppose that's great for you. Glad to hear it. Instead, I think that some conditions should be set up so that nothing like the way you've been treating people happens again. If you get yourself fired, then I'll keep investing my money, and then I'll be able to help out my sister. Excuse me? What are you talking about? You want me fired from the bank? What's my job got to do with any of this? If you don't do that, I won't be able to invest my money with a lot of confidence. If an employee of an investment company starts doing something problematic, then we'll all be in trouble. And that's not fair, is it, Charles? The thing that makes the situation dangerous needs to be removed. So, is that why you've told my boss to fire me after the way I've treated your sister? But she was the one who lied to me about you, though. But, could you just please reconsider this somehow? I worked really hard to get to the position that I'm in at the bank. Well, that's something that I never knew about you, Charles. Well, I've worked really hard to be a successful investor. Don't you think you're taking this too far? Don't you see how horrible this would be for me if I lose my job? It'll affect my status in society. You can't just decide someone's future based on your own opinion. That's not fair at all. You can't do this. I'm sorry, but are you telling me to not use the power I've obtained in the position I'm in? You're contradicting basically what you did to my family. You've insulted me behind my back and also hurt my sister's feelings. Aren't you prepared to face the consequences of it? No, I wasn't prepared for any of this. I thought that you weren't who I thought you were, and it was just a misunderstanding. Yeah, but you insulted someone without even thinking about it, okay? You really need to stop doing that to people, Charles. If you want to succeed in society, you can't just say whatever you like and not take the consequences for it. That's not how it works. What is it with you? I didn't mean to say what I did about you. I just had no idea who you were. So what's wrong with what I said? I'm a great guy, okay? Yeah, sure you are, Charles. But I think we all know that I'm the better man in this situation. So you need to listen to me right now. You're being so unreasonable. I can't just listen to you. You've been hiding who you truly are. Hey, this is just how our society is. Are you an elite or not? I thought that you were knowledgeable about our society. Am I wrong about that? You were talking pretty proudly about your position to my sister, weren't you? You said that if you're a lower rank, you've got no choice but to listen to what I say. What? But I didn't mean to say it like that. I had no idea who you were when she was talking about you. She didn't give me all the details. Don't start putting the blame on her, Charles. You've been talking badly to us and about us the entire time. Don't even try and deny it. I've got no intention of changing my mind about this. You'll see how things will conclude soon enough. Well then, I'll be going now. Goodbye. Hey, no! You can't do this to me! Please, wait! We need to discuss this more. You can't just say your part and leave. Hey, Daisy! You're making this way more difficult than it actually should be. Is Max still with you? Please, could you persuade him about something?
What do you want now, Charles? Haven't you annoyed us enough? Why would I want to persuade Max into doing anything? He's trying to do the right thing.
Look, all I want is to go back to my high-wage salary, alright? I just want a rich and luxurious life with you. Is that so much to ask?
No, I'm not getting together with someone who treats other people like they're nothing. You've done enough, and we're not going to help you with anything. All I want now is some peace and quiet, and you're ruining that. I don't want to speak to you ever again. Don't contact me. What you should have done is actually tried to get along with the person you thought was unemployed in the first place, okay? After ending that conversation with Charles, Daisy ended up blocking him so that he couldn't contact her. She never wanted to hear from him ever again. According to her brother Max, Charles got fired from the bank. He tried to apologize over and over again. His work attitude was also terrible from the very beginning. People very much had enough of him. It also seems that his arrogant attitude was causing huge problems for the company anyways. With consideration when it came to how he treated Daisy and Max, the decision to fire him was not reversed. He didn't want his pride getting hurt from being unemployed. So even now, he hasn't moved back home and is looking for a new job. He's determined not to lower his standard of living, and he's working multiple part-time jobs. But then he got ill and wasn't earning much. He has to live with what he did, so let's hope he'll become a fine member of society in the future.
Kenzie, for someone your age, you look very young.
Thank you for coming out today, Luke. You think that I look young for my age? Well, thank you so much for saying that.
I can tell that a lot of people your age are getting married and having kids now. And by the way you were acting today, I can see you really are wanting to get married to my son. You have taken really good care of your figure and everything, so be assured that you will get a husband soon enough. I'm sure the figure alone was enough to get my son's attention.
I do agree that a lot of people my age are getting married now and have kids of their own, but please don't think that I'm dying to get married or anything, and that that's my reason for seeming so excited today. Well, no, wait. I am excited, don't get me wrong. It's just that I'm excited to be with Isaiah.
Was today not about your guys' marriage, though? I'm sure you were acting like that because you very well understand that without my permission, my son will not be allowed to marry you, right?
Today was about us getting married. Isaiah had been asking to meet my dad and everything before we went any further with talks about marriage, and so that's why we all set this date up for you all. Both Isaiah and I already love one another a lot and wanted to make sure that we knew one another's parents as well.
All right, you don't have to keep playing dumb here, Kenzie. I understand that you want to marry my son and all, but you can't keep talking like you know everything, or else you're going to ruin your image. Us men like women who are a bit on the stupid side and talk as though they don't really know anything.
Are you sure it's okay to say something like that to me? We're in a new century now, and that means it's probably best that you refrain from saying things like that about women.
Kenzie, you seem to think really highly of yourself. You are aware that I'm going to be your future husband's father, right? I think it's best that you keep your mouth shut a little more often from now on.
Things like that.
I see. You're not going to really listen to me then, are you? If that's going to be the case here, then I'll make it my personal job to set you straight. Next time, let's make sure you and I have a chance to talk to one another, one-on-one. I'll make sure to get us a private room and everything to talk in, if you'd like. This meeting will be very important to me, as I make sure to retrain you from head to toe.
What? You want it to just be you and I meeting next time? So you don't want for Isaiah to be there with us, or anything?
If Isaiah is there with us, he'll try and defend you. And then I won't be able to teach you how to be a proper woman around my family.
But, Luke...
Don't worry, I'll make sure to pay for your meal as well if we go out to eat. Make sure to wear a short skirt and be very excited to see me when the day comes. If you can do that for me, then I'll buy you whatever food and drink you like.
Stop that, please. You actually think saying things like that to me, of all people, is okay? I'm sorry, but you need to stop yourself right there.
Kenzie, do you have any idea how old you are? If you are not able to please men right now, then your chances of ever being married to someone will grow more and more slim. I think it's time you started to listen to your fiancé's father, so that you don't let this chance at marriage slip away from you.
The thing is, though, we're still only engaged, and we haven't even made plans for a wedding or anything yet.
Then that means you really need to start trying to get on my good side from here on out, right? That clothing you were wearing today was very tight on your body, and I could make out all your shapes as you sat there in front of me. From the moment I saw you, I knew that I was into your style, Kenzie. So as long as you keep things going with me, then I'll make sure to let you continue seeing my son.
What are you talking about right now? I really don't like the things you're saying to me right now, so please stop. That is not the way you should be speaking with your son's girlfriend, Luke.
And that's something I'm going to have to teach you about as well now. In the future, you are going to be a part of my family, and will be making children with my son. And I need to make sure that you are worthy of making children with my son at all. You should be aware of just how important it is for my son to be pleased as a man, right?
I'm sorry, but that is far enough. I'm going to have to leave now. Isaiah, thank you for coming out today. But, regarding your father, there are some things that don't feel quite right to me.
What was that? Did he say or do some pretty weird things to you today? From my point of view, it seemed that my dad was really into you. And that's a really good thing for our future together.
Really into me? You think so?
Yes, I do. By the time you had to leave, it felt that we were all a lot closer to one another. And when I told him about the work you're doing for a living right now, he seemed really impressed by you.
I'm sure he was, but, Isaiah, I kind of feel that things are a little too close between your father and I now. When you went to the restroom and things like that, your father, he would look at me in a completely different way.
Oh, I think you're just being delusional about things. You really think that my dad would be willing to act that way around his son's girlfriend? Oh, I'm sorry, Kenzie, but if you keep saying things like that, then I'm going to get a little upset with you next.
No, I don't think I'm being delusional or anything about it. On the way out of there, your father kind of brushed his hand against my butt. When he did that, things in my head really changed, and I didn't feel comfortable at all with how things were going.
Huh? What are you going on about? My dad has always been a very good guy with the ladies. You think him giving you a little touch on the butt means that he has feelings for you or something? Oh.
Then let me ask you this. What was the reason again for your mother and father getting a divorce?
I know that from time to time my dad could get a little carried away with himself around my mom. But my mom would always leave me at home all alone to go do her own things. So when you compare her to what little my dad was doing, my dad looks like a really good guy. He also allowed me to join the company I'm a part of now, so I have much respect for him.
And that's what I heard from you, which made me think he was a very kind man. But today he went and intentionally touched your girlfriend. You don't find any of that to be really strange?
And like I was saying, you're being very delusional about things. What does it matter that he touched your butt? There's nothing wrong with that. Back when you were a kid, were you never spanked or anything? I grew up always being spanked by him, and that's what turned me into the man I am now.
I'm not talking about spanking. The way he laid his hand on my butt then, it was nothing like a little slap or anything. Also, he was just asking me over text if next time just he and I could go out to eat. I asked him why he would want to do that and why he wanted to meet in a private room.
That's just how much my dad is into you, right? What is going on with you? You think that he's going to start touching you more if you go to that private dinner with him or something? He would never do something like that to a woman your age, so calm down already.
I never said he'd do something like that. It's just, as a woman, being in a one-on-one situation with my boyfriend's father after he said all that to me already doesn't make me feel all right. I can't relax at all thinking about it. I don't even understand why he wants only me to be there with him. He said it was to keep you from protecting me, but him saying things like that only make me feel worse about the whole situation.
Hey, seriously? I never thought you were the type of woman to get so worked up by that. Let me ask you this. What kind of environment were you raised in by your parents? Wait, didn't you tell me that your dad graduated from a well-known university?
Is that what I told you before? Because my father never went to college or anything. He didn't even finish high school. But he put in a lot of hard work and made his way up to the top and is someone that I respect a lot. I want you to meet with him next time, all right?
What? Hey, are you kidding me? Well, that has nothing to do with me, so whatever.
What?
You just told me your dad never even graduated from high school. That's pretty crazy. What you said just caught me off guard there a little is all. But once you and I are married, you will be entering my family, so your dad is never really going to have anything to do with me.
Hey, when you said something like what my father did was crazy, did you mean that in a good way or a bad way? Please don't tell me you look down on him for having to drop out of high school.
I never said I was looking down on him for that. Oh. But considering that I've gone to college and am on my way to becoming an elite, I've never had the chance to meet up with a high school dropout. Huh. I thought people like that didn't even exist, to be honest with you.
The way you say that, it makes me feel as though you do look down on him.
You graduated from college as well, right? So you understand what I'm saying here. Well, whatever. For right now, just make sure not to make any drama about my dad, alright? Now, I have to go out for some drinks, and I'll be using the company's money to do so.
I don't think you should just be saying something like that, Isaiah. Especially when it has to do with the company's money.
You'd think I would allow a wedding between a high school dropout's girl and my elite son? If you're going to become upset by what I have to say, then you be upset with your failure of a father.
There is no way someone like you just went and splashed that hot coffee all over the place. I had to go to the hospital to get treatment for all these second-degree burns, and luckily the doctors and nurses were able to take care of it all right away. But they're saying there will be scars left over from all the burns. Which means now I'll have scarring on my left arm, my left leg, and my neck because of you. What the hell is wrong with you, you brute?
I want to ask that about you. How dare you hide the fact that your father is a dropout from my son and I, and make your move to try and marry my son?
I wasn't trying to hide anything. I was never asked about my father, so I never thought about talking about his education. It seems that the only ones who care so much about people's educations are you guys. If that's always been the case with you both, then you should have asked from the very start about things like that.
You expect me to believe that in this day and age, there are still people that never finished high school or went to college? Jeez, such a sad family who has raised you. And thinking about the way you said no to my invitation. I can't believe it.
If anything, isn't that the biggest problem to you right now? This has nothing to do with my father's education, but with the fact that I said no to my boyfriend's father's advances.
And if that is my problem with you, then the fact you understand that I'd have a problem with it means you did say no to me on purpose. You have no idea what you're doing right now, huh? Ha! Well, now you've gone and poked the bear, and are going to be in a real treat now. Nobody beneath me is going to overlook what I say.
What did you say?
You are from a family of lowlifes, trying to enter my family of elites. And by doing so, you are trying to take advantage of my son's income, so that you never have to work another day in your life. I'm sure a life like that is exactly what you're after, because you would be set forever, right? Well, if that's the life you want to get, then you're going to need to try harder to get on my good side. Ha!
You need to stop speaking about my family like that, please. There is no reason to be talking down about them.
Still trying to act all tough, are we? I have no other choice then. I'll have to do something that'll open up those pretty eyes of yours. You are still in your 20s, right? Just barely? Well then, you need to listen to everything I say to you. If you can do that, I will let you marry my son. Huh.
What else do you have to say?
You're going to have to provide some services to your fiancé's father now. You'd better be happy that you're still considered young. If you were in your 30s now, I would never be giving you this kind of a chance.
Does this mean you want me to meet with you in a private room, one-on-one? There you're going to be doing things to me like you did before, touching my butt and the like? That's something I'll need to do with you?
Hey. Don't start getting too far ahead of yourself there. You're on the verge of becoming an old hag, with only a few months left before that really does happen. You should be more happy about a man like myself touching your butt. Start to be appreciative of the fact that I find you attractive still.
You really are screwed up. Who the hell do you think would ever want to go into a private room with an old fat man like yourself and let you feel them up? Start realizing just how disgusting you are before you ever talk like that old man.
Excuse me? Kenzie, do you understand what position you're in right now? I have given you a chance to stay with my son, and you're going to talk back to me like that?
Well, then this means you've really gone and tied the knot around your neck.
I have no idea what you're talking about, little girl. You can't even compare yourself to me, when I've been around for longer than you, and I've done so much more for the world. No matter what you say to me, you're just going to make yourself sound like more and more of a sore loser.
We'll have to see about that then. My father happens to be the CEO of your company, so we'll have to see if you can still compare yourself to the likes of him.
What? Wait, what was that?
I said, my father is the CEO of the company you're working for. And due to all of the very unfortunate things you have said to me, I'll make sure he is fully aware. Expect the worst to come from him after today, so please look forward to it all.
Kenzie, you really think such a massive lie as that is going to fool me? Well, you did get me to clench my cheeks there for a second, so I respect you for that. But your lie is all but believable. A high school dropout like your father becoming a CEO. Ha! That's a great joke you've told me.
You think so? Then I'll make sure to let him know you've said that as well. Please be ready for what's to follow, Luke.
I just want to say that I'm so very sorry for everything I've done and said. I never once thought that you of all people would turn out to be the daughter of my CEO. I am so terribly sorry for the rude behaviors I had when speaking with you in both person and through text.
Ah, so you've finally come to understand your place? Well, I'm sure you're already aware of this, but a lot of people within the company are now very upset with you. And that means you are most definitely going to be fired.
Hold on a second. I have no idea who you or your father were at the time. I never thought that my CEO would even be a high school dropout. And when I heard that a lot of the other people on the board never went to college and things like that, how could something like that be?
Well, as you can see, it can indeed be. And now you've gone and pissed them all off. So how's it going? Did you have fun with all of them in the meeting room? Was it enjoyable hearing all of them talk about the things you were saying to both myself and about my father?
It was so embarrassing for me that I couldn't even bear to keep myself from crying. I regret everything that I have done and said from the bottom of my heart.
Can you give me an example of what made you so embarrassed that you had to cry? What exactly do you regret doing so much? Hopefully, you'll be able to give me a good example right now of what you'd done wrong, right?
When they started to tell me about how poorly I had been talking about the CEO, when I heard he was a high school dropout, and about the way I had used that to try and break things off between you and my son.
What else?
There's the part where they started to tell me about the way I behaved with the CEO's daughter, you, in a very inappropriate manner.
Were you able to get all of those men on the board to agree with you that because of your age and the generation you're from, that it's okay to go around touching the butts of women half your age and saying that it's okay to do so because that's the only way someone like me would be allowed to marry your son?
Please don't say it like that.
Don't say what? You were trying to make me understand that, right? If you really want to have your fun with younger women, then perhaps it's better you get yourself a prostitute instead of feeling up the CEO's daughter. As far as the company and myself are aware, what you had done to me, touching my butt like that, is a crime. Sexual assault, one might say.
But you're going to become my son's wife, so I thought that as family it would be alright to do that.
How frickin' vile of you to say that. I can't believe there's someone I know who could say such a thing to me. I'm not even a part of your family in the first place, Luke. And if I was, there would still be loads of problems with you touching me.
I
I guess you have no idea what the punishment is for touching a woman in a sexual way without her consent. It's because of disgusting men like you who think there's nothing wrong with being monsters around women that this society is constantly being held back.
I really am so sorry. I didn't think you would be so against me doing that.
You didn't think so? Have you ever had a look at what you look like recently? It's one thing for a really good-looking man to think something like that, but an old geezer like you thinking I'd be into you touching me up is just hilarious. How childish, really. I think you'd better start getting a grip with the thing you really are and begin to work towards acting like that thing instead.
I really am so sorry. Of course, now that I've been made aware of things, you are more than welcome to continue moving forward with your marriage to my son. And I'm sure the both of you would make a great little family together.
Huh? You think things are just going to continue moving forward after what's happened? I am never going to marry your son now, Luke.
Why not? You came all the way out to see me and talk about the marriage.
The reason for me not wanting to marry him anymore is because my eyes have been opened. When I tried to talk with Isaiah about what was going on with you, he didn't seem bothered by it at all. I could see that he was just as awful as you, and that led to me having a change of heart.
Wait, please! Right now, this is all a problem between you and I, right? Your marriage to him shouldn't have anything to do with me, and that's why he might have been a bit dismissive about how you felt about me.
But it has a lot to do with the marriage. If I were to marry your son, then I'd have to become family to you. And who knows what you'd do to me then?
You don't have to worry about what I'll do anymore.
To be frank, I just don't want to become family with something like you. And when I tried talking with Isaiah about what you were doing, he took your side and agreed with your tactics. I was feeling really uncomfortable about you, and yet he made it seem to me like he was okay with that.
That's just... He's a lot like his father, is all.
I could tell that if I made him my husband, I would be putting myself right in danger's way. And when I told him about how I had been hurt badly by that hot coffee you spilled on me, he seemed to think that was my fault for being in the way. That right there killed what little flame I had left in my heart for him. I'm happy to see that he's not at all like the man I loved before, and that once I became a part of your guys' family, he would not care one bit about my safety.
What?
By the way, my father is very aware that Isaiah was hired into the company by his criminal dad. So my father will have your son fired as well.
Criminal? You're calling me a criminal?
Who else would you be?
I am so sorry for what's happened. But you can't say I'm a criminal for what's happened. Please forgive me and let this all be.
Not only did you fling hot coffee all over me and give me second-degree burns, but you also touched my butt without my consent. I'm going to make sure the police are aware of this, so please allow them to walk you to your new room in hell. After that, the police arrived at Luke's house and took him into the police station for questioning. And this led to word about what he had done spreading even deeper into my father's company. Soon after the questioning was over with, though, the police did come back to Luke's house again, and this time letting him know that he was under arrest and would be taken to court by my father's lawyers. There he would be charged with both physical and sexual assault against me, and would have to serve 5 years for it. And on top of that, he would also be required to pay me a settlement of around $150,000. For not only the crimes he committed, but also for my medical bills, as I would still have to undergo a few more treatments to help with my burns. Luckily, he had that kind of money in his savings, but after the money came to me, he was pretty much left dry and wouldn't be able to make any money back for the next 5 years. Isaiah then came to me a day after the court case and started to apologize to me while crying. But when I told him it was no use and that I'd not be marrying him, he ran off. Word about what his father had done and everything was already within the company now, but things were only made worse for Isaiah when I explained to my father about how he'd use company money to go out drinking and things like that. He was fired not too long after his father, and now the both of them can experience the hell they've entered together. This is what those two deserve for never understanding that the way they acted was not acceptable in today's world and quite illegal in most cases. As for what's happened with me after that whole fiasco, I'm back home living with my mother and father again. I'll be with them for a little while as I got time off from work so that I could rest and wait for my burns to all heal up. I know this outcome wasn't all that great for me because I'll always have scarring that will remind me of Luke and Isaiah. But that's a whole lot better than marrying into that family without ever knowing what kind of monsters they really were.
Alright, so we're gonna go and meet my parents tomorrow, right? I'm a little worried about something, so I thought that I should warn you before we go.
What are you worried about?
I just spoke to my parents on the phone, and it looks like my dad... well, it sounds like he really's got something against you.
What? Really? But we've never even met before. What could he have against me? Is he really that protective of you?
Kind of. It's more like he thinks that we gotta marry into someone that's worthy of being in our family, since I guess you can say that we have it all. We have the education, the money, the influence. I mean, all of our family has graduated from a renowned university. He wants the people that join our family to be just as high up on the ladder as we are.
So? What's the problem? I went to a pretty famous university too. Or is it not famous enough?
Well, yeah, the problem isn't you exactly, it's your background. I didn't know that your dad was a single parent. You've never told me that he raised you by himself. But my dad knew somehow.
Wait, I told you that my mom passed away. I didn't think that I would have to tell you that that means that my dad is a single parent.
Well, I knew about your mom, but I didn't think that he was still alone. When you hear that someone's from a single-parent household, you get the impression that they're not exactly financially stable. You understand that, right?
What? Troy, what are you even saying? That doesn't make any sense at all. Do you understand that that's called prejudice?
Anyway, I think that's why my dad doesn't like you. My mom told me that he's been in a bad mood recently because of that. So I just want you to be careful with what you say to him tomorrow. We don't want to anger him any further.
You're telling me to be careful? How am I supposed to do that? I haven't even done anything wrong, so how am I supposed to take care not to make him angry? I'm not gonna walk around on eggshells. I don't understand where this is all coming from, but if he already hates me, then obviously there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to be myself and work towards getting to know him. And have him get to know the real me. Everything's going to be fine, so you don't have to worry.
You've got a lot of nerve coming into my house and trying to slither your way into my family. A woman like you doesn't deserve to be with my son. You're beneath him.
You should take that back, Mason. You're being extremely rude. You were insulting my dad, too. What you've said is absolutely unforgivable.
You and that father of yours, did you really think that you could become a part of our family if you got closer to my son and married him? You're beneath us. You don't have the right. You must be stupid if you think that I'm going to let you get away with this.
I'm not interested in becoming family with someone who speaks like that to someone they've only just met. And the prejudices you have against single-parent households is just ridiculous, too. I don't want to have anything to do with your so-called super elite family.
You don't have the right to reject us. We're the ones that want nothing to do with people like you. You must have thought that marrying into our family was a chance for you to become rich yourselves. But you're not getting your dirty hands on any of my money. And you're not marrying my son either. If you keep on acting like a gold digger like that, then you'll never get married. It's no wonder you're still single at your age.
Excuse me?
There's no point in trying to hide it. I heard from Troy that you're older than he is. Which means that you're over 30. If a woman's not married by the time she's 25, that can only mean that something's wrong with her. In other words, you're after our money. You can't trick me, you're a fortune hunter. You should take a good look at yourself and your background before you go out and try and find another victim. Next time you should aim a lot lower instead of trying to reach for someone that's out of your league. You and my son were never going to make it as a couple. He's too good for you. And you only have your ignorance to blame if you can't realize that.
Mason, I think you should be careful with what you say to me. You're going to regret being this rude, and you'll wish that you could take it back when it's too late.
Why should I take care with what I say to you? You're just a gold digger. I can say whatever I like to someone like you. Do you want to know why? It's because someone with your background doesn't have the power to stop me. You say that I'm going to regret this? As if. What can you do to make me apologize? Nothing!
I understand the love you have for your only son and wanting the best for him, including the best partner, but that doesn't mean that you can talk to people however you want. You were rude enough to insult me and my father the minute I walked through your door, and now you've gone out of your way to contact me online just to continue your verbal abuse. It's pathetic. And you really consider yourself a part of the higher end of society? As an elite? Don't make me laugh.
And you wouldn't, since you're not one of us. We have pride in being elites, and we have a duty to uphold our reputation. If I let Troy marry you, it would mean the end of that reputation. Especially now that I know your father didn't even go to high school. An embarrassment like that has to be avoided at all costs.
Excuse me? How did you even find out about that? My dad's never told you that, and I've never told Troy either. How did you find out about my dad's education? And about my dad being a single parent? It seems like Troy never told you, so how did you know?
I guess it's difficult for a poor person like you to understand. Rich people have their own ways of finding information that someone like you could never dream of. It must be a shock, but this is proof that you would never have made it in our family.
Enough with the derogatory comments. Would you hurry up and tell me how you found out about my dad? You're starting to creep me out.
You? Ordering me around? God, you even sound uneducated. But I'll tell you, it's easy for me to hire someone to investigate someone like you. Money makes the world go round, and having a lot of money myself, I could do whatever I want. I have the sort of education that you can only dream of, and with it, I can have a career that's out of your reach, and money that you'll never get. Once someone is born into the lowly circumstances you're stuck with, they can never escape it. The only life you'll ever know is lacking in financial stability, lacking in good education, and wanting of good morals.
You really sound like you're enjoying this. But I'm warning you, I'm going to report everything you've said to my dad.
Do whatever you like. I doubt that he can ever do anything to me. Oh, and maybe it was difficult for an idiot like you to understand, but the engagement is off. You're not marrying my son. I'm not going to allow you to marry into our family, not now and not ever. We've all been to top universities in our country. Why should we let someone like you get in our way?
I never imagined that my own fiancé's husband would cancel the engagement, but I'm not upset by it at all. If anything, I'm relieved. The only thing I'm disappointed about is that your son wasn't the man I thought he was. Now I know what he's really like. I don't want to marry him. I've already told him that I don't want to marry him myself. I'm not interested in becoming family with someone who thinks that he can insult people based on their education. And he didn't even try to defend me while you were shouting abuse at me. He was too afraid to argue back to you. When I saw that he wasn't even going to try and come between us, I lost all of my feelings for him. It made me wonder why I even fell in love with him in the first place.
Our family has a strong bond. Of course he wouldn't talk back to me for a woman like you. He knows better than that. It takes an education to teach people who they should really side with. And he made the right choice by not defending you. We don't need someone like you disrupting our family bond.
I told you I have no intention of marrying your son anymore. So there's no need for you to talk down to me like that.
I made the right choice by hiring that private investigator to look into you and your family.
What?
I found out a lot of interesting things about you. I didn't want some random woman making her way into my son's life and getting her dirty hands on our money. I should have been more wary and stopped him from even dating a woman like you. But at the very least, I managed to stop him from ruining his life by marrying you.
You actually went out of your way to investigate us? Wow, you're so committed. So you really think that your family's reputation is worth that much effort to protect? You must think very highly of yourself.
Of course I do. Our family is special. We have dignity, unlike people like you. The private investigator informed me that your father didn't even go to high school. There's no way that I can let you start a family with our Troy knowing that you're going to mix your uneducated blood into our family. You're not marrying Troy, and that's final.
Well, my dad says that you're fired.
What?
I'm tired of talking to you, so I've already told him everything that you've said to me. At first, I was willing to just accept breaking off the engagement because Troy and I were probably just not meant for each other. And I was willing to ignore how rude you had been to me when I visited. But you've gone too far, Mason. You said too much about me and my dad, and now we're both furious. My dad's shocked that you could be so discriminatory and has decided he doesn't want you working in his company anymore.
What the hell are you talking about? He can't do anything to me. He's just a middle school graduate. He doesn't have the power to fire me.
Listen to me, Mason. You're working in the company that my dad founded after he graduated from middle school. He's your employer, asshole.
What did you say?
Let me correct myself. You're not even working in his company. You're working in some distant child company that doesn't even have much affiliation with him.
What are you talking about?
You don't even know what he looks like, do you? The CEO of your parent company? You wouldn't, because you don't have any reason to. Since you're not even a manager of any kind, you're just a simple office worker. But you should have gotten his picture when you investigated us, right? How about you look up the CEO of the company you're working for? I think you'll recognize him, because he'll have the same face as the man in the picture who you got from your PI.
What? You're kidding.
I'm not. Look it up and see for yourself. If you take a look at the company homepage, you'll find my dad's picture.
It's true. It really is the same picture. No way. Your father is the CEO of our parent company?
That's why I warned you not to insult my dad. So, how does it feel to be fired by the very guy that you were insulting for being beneath you and inferior to you? Is it embarrassing? Do you feel humiliated? I hope so, because you definitely deserve it.
Wait a minute. Is this really true? Are you the CEO's daughter? But why? I didn't know. I didn't know about any of this. The investigator never told me that your father owned a company, let alone the company that I work at.
What, did the PI only tell you that my dad was a middle school graduate? That's a shame. You must have wasted a lot of money to get that lousy information. But even if you didn't know, nothing's going to change my dad's mind. You should just give up and work on fixing your manners and finding another job.
I'm very sorry.
What?
I apologize for being so rude towards you and the CEO. I got ahead of myself and made a lot of unpleasant remarks that hurt you and your father. It was because I didn't know who you really were. If I did, I wouldn't have said that. I really regret my actions towards you, and I hope that you'll find it in your hearts to forgive me. Please let me apologize. I'm sincerely extremely sorry. It was unacceptable for me to speak to you like that.
It's too late for you to start apologizing now. The damage has already been done. Besides, we're not interested in accepting your apology.
Please don't say that. I really didn't mean to insult you like that. Please, hear me out. It was the investigator's fault. They must have made a mistake and sent me the wrong information. I didn't mean to be so rude to you, okay? You've got to believe me.
Oh, really? Then how about the lies about you going to university? I think I'm correct when I say you didn't go at all. But I guess you're trying to say that you didn't mean to lie about that as well.
What?
We already know the truth, Mason. We know that you haven't actually been to university. You lied about being a high school graduate.
I can't believe what you're saying. I went to university. I went to one of the top universities in the country. That's why I got the job at your father's company, because of my degree.
You should be ashamed of yourself. You were putting yourself on a pedestal, declaring that you were better than everyone else because of your higher education. But in actual fact, you've never been to university. You're a high school graduate. My father had you investigated and found out everything for me.
What? You investigated me?
You're just a family of vain liars. Or rather, you're the vain one. You are trying to present yourself as a superior, important man with a reputation to uphold, but you were lying about everything. To your own family, too.
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't lied about anything.
Of course you know what I'm talking about. You should know yourself whether you've been to university or not. There's no point lying to us anymore. My dad's already had you investigated by a PI because he was worried about the type of person you were.
Huh? You hired a private investigator as well?
Yeah, we found out that you're a high school graduate and that you lied about your education to get into my dad's company. My dad had no intention of getting in the way of my engagement to Troy. He just wanted to know what kind of person you were. He trusted my judgment and was willing to ignore what you had done as long as I really did want to marry Troy. He was going to give his blessing for the marriage, but apparently he's changed his mind. He's angry that you could be so insulting and that you spoke to me like that, and has decided that he wants you gone. He's the CEO after all. He can't ignore that you faked your CV to get into his company.
You already know that much? I never would have imagined that I would be investigated by someone else. I thought that I could hide the truth.
If you're able to investigate someone else, you should keep in mind that someone might be investigating you, too. By the way, the PI that you hired was someone that my dad knows. You should know that he has a lot of influence over a lot of local business.
What? He knows the investigator I hired?
Yeah, the PI kindly let him know that he was his next target. So my dad asked him to keep his current position under wraps and chose what information they could leak to you. He wanted to see how you would react to the information you had been given.
What? So you tricked me? So then I was just dancing to your tune without knowing it? Then it's not my fault that I reacted like that. You did it on purpose to make me look like the bad person. We've both done wrong in this situation, so why can't you just overlook what happened? Let's forget about all this.
No way, you must be joking. The second you found out about my dad being a middle school graduate, you hated me before you even met me. And then when I went to visit you with Troy, you looked down on me and insulted me. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I didn't know that my dad had investigated you until I told him everything you said, but I'm grateful that he did. I know that he was just thinking about me, and in the end, he didn't use that as a reason to try and get me to cancel the engagement. But you did.
But it's not my fault. If I had known that you were the CEO's daughter, I never would have said any of this. I would never have disrespected you the way that I did to you both if I knew that he was my boss. I didn't know, so I didn't mean it. You've got to forgive me.
Even if my dad wasn't the CEO of your company, you should never have spoken to me like that. You're the lowest of the low for demeaning me like that. Just because you found out that my dad didn't go to high school. You're obviously not fit to call yourself a father, since you've ruined the chance of a happy future your son might have had, and for lying to him about your own education. Plus, you're going to be fired and won't be able to support your own family, despite priding yourself for being so well off.
Please wait. You can't do this. You're gonna ruin my life for nothing. I haven't done anything wrong. Tell me what I've done to deserve this.
You still don't understand what you've done? I've already told you enough, so why don't you look back on what you've said to me this past hour and think about it? I don't want to have anything more to do with you or your son, so don't try to contact me again. If you'll excuse me, I've got better things to do.
Wait a minute. I'll give you my blessing. You can marry my son.
Were you even listening to me?
My son says that he still wants to marry you. If I'll let you marry him, so please. He's told me that he's sorry and he wants to get back together, hasn't he? Why don't you? Just forget about everything I said to you today and make up with my son. You were both happy to marry him up until now. Are you going to let a few bad hours change that? Are you really that cold? Just marry him. If that's what you want to do, I won't stop you anymore. I didn't mean anything I said, so if you'll just forgive me.
You're getting on my nerves, Mason, you and your son. There's no way I'll be able to forget what you said to me today, and there's no way I want to marry your son. I've already saved screenshots of the conversation we've had online, and I've already shared them with my dad. And I don't love your son anymore. It's as simple as that. He didn't even try to stop you or try to defend me. And if anything, he was telling me that I needed to be careful the night before we went to visit you. I've already told him that I'm not interested in forgiving him and that we're never getting back together.
You can't do that. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to lose my job. How am I supposed to tell my family? They'll never forgive me.
Oh, yeah, about that. I already told Troy that you lied to him and your family about being a university graduate.
What?
Your entire family knows that you've been lying this entire time. It seems like they're pretty disappointed. Good for you. Now you don't have anything to hide from them. Anyway, I'm leaving now. Don't ever contact me ever again. I don't want to become family with someone like you. So I'm never coming back. Goodbye! After that, Mila ignored all of Mason's messages and calls. She officially broke off the engagement with Troy and let her parents know that she wasn't going to marry him. Mason's managers found out from Mila's father that he had been lying about his education and was fired immediately after. His entire family lost all trust in him when they found out the reasons behind him losing his job. He had been so wary of Mila damaging his reputation and had always been a very proud man, so he was even more embarrassed when they heard that he had never been to university. Troy blamed his father for everything that had happened between Mila and himself and didn't think to look back on his own faults before cutting ties with Mason. Mason's wife announced that she wanted a divorce, and Mason has been attempting to convince her to take him back, without much success. They were calling themselves an elite, well-off family, but in the end, they've lost the strong bond that Mason believed they had and have all ended up living alone. Mila was relieved that she didn't have to marry a man with such a pretentious family, and was even thankful for Mason's treatment for helping her realize that she was making a mistake.